are World System Solutions, a nonprofit organization. We are intending to facilitate resolution of climate change in every way that we can, technologically, in terms of infrastructure development, organizationally, as well as by generating an educable modality of conscious collaboration that is utilizable by various organizations and nations in order to effect rapidly resolution of the climate change challenges that we face. Right now, we find the world in a competitive mode, a for-profit mode, a feeding mode in many ways, a haves and have-nots mode, an imbalanced mode, and in a non-equitable dynamic that is not fair, is not honoring of all of humanity, and is not serving all of humanity optimally. And that has been the traditional tribal dynamic of our species. And we get that. We have no judgment of the history of humanity. We simply recognize that in this moment of extreme challenge, we must choose a different path than we have previously been willing to operate from if we want to efficaciously resolve climate change, and if we want to do so in a way that impacts marginalized populations minimally and makes the world a better place rather than just a place where we survive the effects of our own prior effect on the world. If we are to believe, and we kind of do, the current science, we have 8 years to reduce carbon emissions globally by 45%. Achieving that goal, if we do achieve it, will affect every person on the planet. It will affect every nation and every organization. And technology is mere innovation will not get us there. Policy changes alone will not get us there. Governmental efforts alone won't get us there. For-profit motive won't get us there. Competing with each other won't get us there. Competition and conflict, which have been the go-to modes in the past of getting things done in our world, are not equal to conscious collaboration. They're not efficient. They're not effective. They take a long time. They slow the process of getting solutions in place. We understand that. Therefore, we offer, and we are offering, methods, educational techniques, team processes where people can collaborate and work together to resolve climate change and to solve any and all challenges and symptoms of climate change that we face now and in the future. We are in an existential crisis where the very structure of the world's economic, political, and social systems are perpetuating the ongoing destruction of the natural world. They're threatening not only our survival, the survival of innumerable species, many of which have already gone extinct in our world. So we recognize we must solve the symptoms of climate change, and simultaneously there must be a path and process and mechanism and system for generating a new and sustainable life process for global humanity as we go forward. If we try to go at this in some sporadic hit or miss, disorganized, non-integrated, non-collaborative, competitive, have and have-nots dynamic of special interests being served first and wealthy nations being served while other nations do without COVID vaccines and do without necessary transformational resources and technologies, we are unlikely to meet the mark. We're not judging the process in any way. We have no criticism of how humanity is meeting this. We are suggesting that we must raise the bar now and forever forward, perhaps for the next 100 years as a species, not as nations, as a collective humanity. And we simply want to offer any breadcrumbs on the path that we can to facilitate that evolution. Absolutely, economic changes will be necessary globally, and they are happening, they're happening glacially rather than constructively and functionally and optimally. Corruption must be resolved globally. If this becomes a a mechanism of for-profit organizations profiting on the apocalypse, we're unlikely to meet our necessary goals of a 45% drawdown of carbon emissions. And carbon emissions are just one facet, one narrow facet of the overall symptomology of climate change that must be addressed. It is the latest headline in the news, and simultaneously it's not the answer, not the total answer, and it is a very salient and necessary discussion point. So we are at a tipping point here. If we choose to shift out of what might be termed transformational resistance and self-interest and special interest and competition and for-profit feeding modes, if we're willing to shift out of that modality of unconscious tribalism and into conscious collaboration, unity, honoring of diversity and equality in all of our collective decision-making, and to reorganize as a species for these necessary requisite goals, we have an excellent opportunity before us. The world, if we see this moment as an opportunity, as all of the symptomology of climate change is only a set of school books for us to learn to evolve from. If we take it that way, if we receive it that way and operate from it that way, we gain the capacity to benefit absolutely and to generate a sustainable life process for future generations. As Buckminster Fuller said very eloquently, you never change things by fighting the existing reality or models. To change something, you need to build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. We're to the time we have no illusions of our organization being the solution to climate change. We don't feel we know it all. We don't have all the answers. We are excellent. Thank you. We are hoping to design. We are designing an organizational bucket and a crucible, a container, technologically and infrastructurally, to allow the bringing together and collection and organizing and distribution of all of the solutions and the information and the knowledge and the expertise and the resources in a well-organized, orchestrated way. We feel that this orchestrated mechanism is lacking in our world. Right now, nations are competing and organizations are competing. And if that continues, then we might all just end up fighting over scraps rather than generating a new world process that works for everybody. So this is our opportunity. This is our quandary. So transcendence of prior tribal, cultural, nationalistic, egocentric, and what we term taproot tendencies, taproot being the primal unconscious drive of all animals, and we are in some ways, as well as being souls and conscious beings, we are animals. We feed. The human process has been one of feeding on our planet and to proliferate and to solve problems and get the resources and food that we need via destruction rather than, and that has generated innumerable adaptive technologies that, like the plastic bottle, that cause as many or more problems than they solve. We have billions of plastic bottles around the world now floating in the oceans, being burned in fire pits, creating pollution, not really being recycled at all. A tiny, like 1.7% of plastic bottles ever really get recycled, and then they don't get reused. So you can see the system that we're operating from is fundamentally broken, not optimal, is not efficient, is not effective, generates more waste and toxins than it fixes or solves or cleans up. So our current system is inadequate. It's not a criticism of it. It's hopefully a healthy description. So we perceive, for what it's worth, in our tiny little organizational vantage point, that conscious collaboration is the antidote to climate change. That we could throw all the technology and money and power at this that we want, and if we don't arrive together in a consciously collaborative, unifying, mobilizing, aligning, and synchronizing mode, that we're not going to get there collectively, or not all of us are going to make it. A metaphor that we tend to use is that of ants. If there's a flood in an area that has ants, the ants will make a raft of the bodies of many of the members of the anthill, and they'll cling to each other, and the ants that are on top of that pile will survive, and floating on the raft of the dead bodies of the other ants. That is a metaphor for how animals in this world tend to operate at this taproot survival, feeding, territorial, competitive level of our systems. We would suggest that that is an inadequate way for us to meet climate change, which we've generated ourselves. It's a problem that we are now required to solve. We've created the issues, and their resolution will be our mechanism of leapfrogging into higher consciousness, or pole vaulting into a higher dynamic of conscious collaboration on the planet, if we choose for that to be our future. So we need a global shift in consciousness, and we can implement the next from that vantage point of higher consciousness, more equanimous, equal, collaborative consciousness. We can implement necessary technologies and solutions and policies, and they will generate a sustainable fabric of transformation globally. We need a cohesive fabric of effort, not a bunch of non-aligned, non-orchestrated effects in the world. We need to learn from each other as fast as we possibly can. Therefore, we're generating what we call the social movement engine. It's an IT infrastructure where any group, any nation, any collaborating organization or group consortium of organizations can get together, and they can solve these very complex and challenging issues together. And that is part of our intended contribution as humanity moves forward. That's our organization's intention. So this does mean fundamentally redefining all of our relationships to each other and to the natural world as a species in the future. How imperative that we gain the quality of consciousness that allows us in every moment of every decision that we make from here on as a species and as individuals and as nations and as organizations. How imperative that we understand our relationship to nature and to the natural world, so that we can assess in real time the true cause-effect dynamics of each of our choices, each of our actions, as we move forward together. For the last 63 weeks, we've been working as an organization and as a team of teams to evolve the paradigm of conscious collaboration, conscious teamwork, conscious co-creative solutions generation, and educational materials generation. We've got a YouTube channel now with lots of educational materials and videos, World System Solutions YouTube channel. We also have the website. We have a social media platform that is named Chloe, that participants in the WSS participate on, converse on anything climate change centric and consciousness attainment centric. Any and all of you are invited, should it be of interest, to participate in the team of teams. We have Friday meetings where we talk about all of these topics, where it's a mutual conscious learning process. We're generating a microcosm along with simultaneously generating what could be looked at as a vast information systems architecture we're referring to as the social movement engine, or the SME. There's lots of information about the SME available on our YouTube channel and available on the website. And so there needs to be a mass distribution mechanism for education, for synchronizing collaborative communication, for resource distribution, for collaborative effort generation, and for consortiums of large organizations not only to come together and work together, and nations to come together and work together. There needs to be a system of facilitation of conscious collaboration, as you've stated, that is very regimented, that is trained in, that is mentored in, and that people recognize the profundity of embodying, acquiring, operating from, moving from, making decisions from, collaborating from, and communicating from. So we are building all of that infrastructure right now. So we agree with you. It is a challenging thing. And yes, these people must talk with each other. So we're literally building the information infrastructure. We're speccing it right now. We'll have a statement of work, hopefully from the information systems companies we're working with, a statement of work that we're going to be funding to and saying, this is the capacity. We're building a learning engine. We're building a transformational engine. We're building a solutions generation engine. We're building a global transformation of consciousness engine. Do you want to participate? It will have an artificial intelligent core to it, and we're hoping to generate ever new capacities, speedy capacities for information delivery, education delivery, solutions delivery, and for connecting people. And right now, the world is operated from 6 degrees of separation, so to speak, between people and other people that are of like mind, if you will. We want to subtract that to 0. We want people to be able to log on to that platform, have access to power tools, have access to educational materials, have access to collaboration support technologies for free. So there is 0 reason for anyone, aside from, of course, we've all got lives, the other challenges and resource drains in our lives. We want people to be able to have as little friction, as little challenge as necessary to talk with each other, to learn from each other, to teach each other, and to facilitate each other just as fast as we possibly can. We have an 8-year window. That is a lot of time. If we were going about this process in traditional terms of putting it through Congress or trying to get a law passed or getting a policy change or getting people to talk about it and judge each other and tribally approach it in traditional ways, 8 years would be a snap of the fingers. We're catalyzing this process through intentional education, facilitation, information distribution as fast as we possibly can. And we're technologizing that as much as possible to empower every participant to magnify what would have been their individual capacity 10-fold or 100-fold. And lastly, this platform is also designed to allow for scalable applications of new and existing technologies to solve climate change. So, for example, there are new technologies that are out that are carbon capture technologies or soil restoration and revitalization technologies. Those are great technologies. Where's the delivery system other than a for-profit mechanism these days? We want to bypass all the middlemen, if you will, and deliver not just individual technologies and solutions, a fabric of 10 or 20 solutions as a composite transformational whole into any geographical venue that is necessary to bring about resolution of climate change within the time available to us. So we need a collaboration platform to bring together the world's greatest capacities, a comprehensive collaboration support environment with all needed power tools to generate scalable solutions, reduce the degrees of separation between people and organizations, to generate networked, effective, large-scale, organized applications of expertise, existing expertise, and to build new expertise. We plan on training programmers on this platform en masse so that they can generate softwares that will help people work together. We also need logistical distribution systems for technologies, resources, and solutions and expertise, and money. We also need an integrative communication system for large-scale coordinated change efforts. So our current organizational paradigm offers these 4 elements, and a public education facilitation mechanism, system, and body of knowledge and information. We're offering workshops to organizations, climate change centric and otherwise, to help shift their mindsets, help them catalytically solve problems that seemed unsolvable in the past. We want to offer the social support network to allow individuals and groups to connect and be educated in order to expand the power of existing social movements in the world, to revitalize them, to fund them, to resource them, to technologize them, so that they can have effect in the world. There are a lot of have-nots in our world that have not had a voice. This social movement engine is designed to give all of humanity a voice, an empowered voice, and to contribute to solve the issues of climate change, and to contribute to generate a new life process for humanity that actually works equitably. We will be offering a global communications, technology, and logistics infrastructure, and we want that to allow for a free flow of accurate, vetted, integrous information, not hate speech, not conflict communications, not getting in the way of transformation, greasing the wheels and the track so that we can move forward together. We need this infrastructure, this support system. It has not been available. The current social media platforms, not judging or criticizing, in our understanding, tend to divide humanity, even intentionally via algorithms, and dividing us as a nation between Democrats and Republicans, quite 50-50, and also polarizing populations rather than unifying and mobilizing and in creating collaborative, engaging conversation that actually gets towards solutions. So the current system is broken. We're not going to get there by trying to refit, retool, refine, or retroactively resolve the current system. We need to augment it significantly with a brand new model. And we're asking, we're imploring you for your contributions to improve upon this model we're working on. We're building collaboratively together. It can only work if it's contributed to by everybody. Because if we leave pieces of the puzzle out, there are going to be people who are the have-nots. There'll be the left behinds. There'll be the poor. There'll be marginalized populations. The people that haven't had a voice in the past will not have a voice in the future. We have an opportunity now to shift this, to change this foundationally, fundamentally, comprehensively, and effectively, and efficiently, with the technology available, in the time available, and with the resources available. And it's our intention to do so. This is our mission, to unite, mobilize, and align humanity in common purpose to resolve climate change and to generate a sustainable global future for all populations, all genders, all ethnic groups, all religions, all cultural groups, all nations. We are apolitical and non-competitive. We want to help connect, align, strategically orchestrate existing stakeholders and resources and organizations of all kinds, and to foster and incubate social movements, new movements and existing movements. We honor all of humanity. We offer free education, tools, resources, technology, solutions, consultative facilitation, infrastructure, and large-scale transformation, coordination capacity. That's a mouthful. We offer a new paradigm for focused, integrated, and sustained collective collaborative effort and empowerment, and an evolutionary educational network and community dedicated toward resolving climate change. We recognize if we want the world to shift foundationally, absolutely comprehensively, it will require a vast and comprehensive effort, a well-coordinated, well-orchestrated, healthy, wholesome, loving, kind, compassionate, caring effort. We want to offer that in any way we can, and we want to collaborate with any organization to create that fabric of resolution and solution for humanity's needs. We are here to serve. We're here to help. We're here to do so humbly. We're here to do so receptively. We're here to honor every human being, every contribution that they bring, and every understanding, every vantage point on life, reality, relationship, and cultural process. We want to hear it. We want to integrate it, synthesize it, and utilize it in order to make the world a better place, to help reduce suffering, increase joy, increase happiness, help the world thrive in a way that does not continue to destroy the planet. This little diagram on the right here is kind of a reference point for us. If we look at humanity as a caterpillar that's been eating up the environment for many years, we've been gaining weight, fattening up for our transformation. And now it's time for us to go into our cocoon, our chrysalis together, to literally liquefy and to allow what are termed the imaginal cells that support this transformation from caterpillar to butterfly, this absolutely comprehensive transformation that occurs in this simple insect, seemingly simple. We need to do that for ourselves. We need to architect that transformation for ourselves collectively in a equitable, honoring, respectful, loving, equal way. And we recognize that there is transformational resistance in every tribalized group, every nationalized group, every political group, every social movement in the world has got its social movement centric values, tendencies, habits, goals, mission. There must be a superordinate goal here. If we're going to unite and mobilize, we've got an opportunity. Climate change is not a common enemy. A common enemy approach to this is not going to solve it. It's a common opportunity. It's a common school book. It's a common transformational opportunity for us. It's to learn profoundly and foundationally at every level and every dimension of human process in order to transform to become that which we all have the potential to be and which we recognize we have the potential to be. It must be an integrous system, an integrous process. It must be a willful and intentional process. It must be focused, it must be efficient, and it must be effective, and it must be sustained. Even if everyone works really, really hard for the next 8 years, if we don't continue that process, that unfoldment of evolution of our species for the next 100 years, we're not going to change enough technologically, socially, personally, emotionally, spiritually. We're not going to transform enough to remain with our current population or larger on this planet in a sustainable way. We see that simply as a fact. We're not trying to push that on anybody else. That's the information, the operational information we work from. If we accept that, if we realize that if we can't accept something to be true, we can't change it because we won't believe it. If we can't accept that climate change is a reality, we can't move forward collectively. We can't understand well enough everything that must be understood for us to be motivated and to take constructive, effective, efficient, resolute, sustained action. So, this is a call to action, absolutely. This is a call to commitment. This is a call to focus on an integrated and integrative effort. And we just are trying to be the highway upon which humanity can travel to their future, the bridge that they travel across to get to where they most want to go. We want to honor everybody's wishes and hopes and desires for a better future for themselves and their children and future generations. We want to honor the natural world. We want to restore the natural world. It needs healing. We've wounded it. We've wounded ourselves. Cultures need healing. Nations need healing. People need healing. Genders need healing. Ethnic groups need healing. And the natural world needs healing too. This is a complete shift of life process paradigm that we're speaking of for humanity. We have the potential, the opportunity, the option to be here in the middle of it, to serve egolessly, humbly, with love and compassion. And we hope to make that to offer that as an invitation to everybody that's online, to everyone that hears this recording, to everyone that could potentially participate in future, to everyone that resonates with these communications. We are a collaboration school. We're a lot of things. One of them is a collaboration school. We know there's a lot of words on these slides. We apologize for that. Again, we offer weekly meetings. You're invited. There is no barrier to participation. We have a liability agreement that we ask people to sign because we live in a litigious world. We don't want to have the process of serving humanity interrupted by being sued. We just ask that that's the only barrier. Other than that, the door is open. Please, you're welcome. We love you. Participate. We implore you. We recognize that you have skills, knowledge, expertise, love, kindness, caring, positive intention. And we want to be the venue and the process by which you get to express that in the world. We want to honor it. We want to support it. We want to facilitate it. We want to catalyze it. We want to collaborate with you in any way that you would like. We have a team of teams. We're going to show a diagram of many of the different teams. There is no dimension of human life process that won't be required to change and be transformed as we move forward together. And that said, that's why the diversity of all of these teams. We have a diversity team because we recognize resolution of the conflicts between the different dimensions of diversity in our world is imperative if we want to unite humanity and mobilize them. There will be innumerable opportunities to help you. And even if you had no expertise or no skill or seemingly nothing to contribute, participating in the groups, there'll be lots of ways that you can contribute, and there'll be lots that you learn. And as soon as you learn what you learn, you will be able to distribute what you have learned to anybody and everybody. We have found participants in the team of teams have been learning all sorts of stuff about conscious collaboration, and they have pollinated that into organizations that they participate in at different levels of management or employee participation. So this is a fantastic opportunity. This is a grassroots movement, and it's also designed to operate at every level of society. Our intention is to bring together the person in the street, the blue collar, the white collar, the wealthy and the powerful, the educated, the organizational, the governmental, the religious and spiritual and cultural, and all dimensions of humanity into this collaborative crucible in a very well organized, orchestrated, efficient, effective way. And please participate. Please talk with we'll be giving you information at the end of this call or this meeting on the screen of how you can connect, how you can interact with our orientation team, how you can get any information you might want about us, how you can learn more if you want to learn more, how you can participate if you want to participate, how you can become part of a team if you want to be part of a team, how you can benefit the world. And we're not saying that in any superficial way. We absolutely perceive that we are on the cutting edge. That this offered process is the solution to climate change. It is the first step for everybody. It is the boots on the ground. This is equal and in substantive effect in the world, if not more, to planting trees, to drawing down carbon, to creating some fantastic new technology in the world, to facilitating any change in any economic or social venue. If we can't collaborate, we aren't going to be able to change in order to implement a new economic system, a new political system, a new technological system, a new social system, to deliver and deploy solutions at scale. If we can't collaborate, none of that's going to happen the way it needs to happen. This is where the rubber meets the road. This is definitive. This is an absolute statement of necessity. It's not a nice to have. This is whether we do or do not unite as a species, whether we do or do not understand each other as a species and value each other, love each other, respect each other, serve each other, and solve each other's problems, because none of us can do it alone. No nation can go alone. No people can go alone. No individual can go alone in this world. The wealthiest person in the world, if the economy collapsed, is going to end up in a similar situation to a lot of other folks. And that's a big statement. That's something to ponder, something to understand. That nobody's going to get through this unscathed or without being required to change in some way to some degree. No one is truly insulated from this process. And it's not going to be a process solved in a for-profit mode all by itself, no matter what for-profit organizations might, no matter how much they might wish that that would be true. This is our team of teams. Some of these are operational, organizational teams. Some of them are designed to facilitate collaboration with other groups or organizations. Some of them are spiritual in nature. Some of them are designed to resolve challenges of diversity. Some of them are designed to empower women because women have been disempowered collectively and historically. And this is just the beginning of the model. You have the right and the option, should you participate, to design your own team. If you have a climate change resolution-centric idea, please participate, create your own team, bring in other people, utilize the infrastructure we're creating, participate with us, educate us, support us or facilitate us, and allow us to support and facilitate and educate you if you choose to. Optional teams to participate in: the orientation team, which is our outreach and communication and collaboration and relationship initiation and facilitation team. The funding team, because of course, like any organization, we need funding. If we want to build at scale, we must fund at scale. We want to engage the youth of the world. The youth is energetic, it's smart, it's capable, it's powerful. It's looking for a place to exact its understanding and wisdom and power and positive intentions. We want to offer that venue of constructive, collaborative efforting on the part of youth so that they can align their efforts like lasers to burn through traditional barriers of transformation and create pathways and bridges for humanity to travel on that don't require us to sacrifice each other in order to create a new future for our species, and don't require us to sacrifice the planet in order to create a future for human societies. We want to develop a conscious masculine team. Men have emotions. I know that might be news to some people. That said, they get wounded, they get hurt, they have needs. They need venues for collaboration, for conversation, for connection, for learning, for evolution, for healing. And there isn't a human being on this planet that doesn't deserve all of that support system for their lives. So we're generating a transformational support system for humanity so that we can collectively evolve, not just as individuals, as groups, as teams, as families, as cultures, as religions, as nations, and as a species. This is a very fractal dynamic, meaning it operates a very similar way at every scale of human life process. We are inviting folks on the business team, and we want to create a world affairs and government team. So you folks have knowledge, you have skills, you have capacities. We can augment them. We will honor them. We will appreciate them. And we implore you to offer them should you feel moved or motivated by this conversation. So one of our paradigms for future development is to create workshops, a series of rolling workshops where we bring in very wealthy people, visionaries, CEOs of organizations, social media issue experts, people who understand the problems and challenges that social media is creating in our world, as well as understanding the technology so that it can actually be used for good rather than to cause people stress, harm, pain, suffering, engaging them in unresolved emotional dynamics that they don't then have a path to climb back out of. The youth of today is being impacted tremendously in negative ways by social media, in our view, and it can be supported in a wholesome, healthy, intelligent, caring, loving, conscious way if we choose to create the platforms that actually offer that, and then integriously curate them, manage them, monitor them, and nurture them. We want to bring documentary makers, we want to bring climate change experts and scientists, and we want to bring spiritual leaders in our world together, all at the same time, in rolling workshops so that there can be transdisciplinary learning between them. We can create combined educational opportunities, combined solutions generation opportunities that have never existed for humanity in the past. We can record them. We can evolve these workshop models and deliver them for free to the world. And by doing so, create new paradigms of collaboration that have never existed in humanity before, and do so at distributable global scale. This is key and core to solving the very complex and diverse issues and problems and multidimensional challenges that climate change is bringing us. We can transcend current polarizing social media dynamics and tribal tendencies and ego-identified tendencies of the world. Those tendencies are not wrong. They are the stepping stones that as a species we have been climbing. They're the stairway, the ladder that have brought us to this moment of potential, talking on Zoom right now. If we hadn't done everything we did as a species for the last millions of years, we wouldn't be here in this moment with this technology and this capacity to change and to evolve and to grow and to learn collaboratively, collectively, and together. So we learn experientially. And these would be experiential workshops. We're going to be funding for these workshops. We're going to be funding for the social movement engine. We're funding for the WSS team of teams process, because whether it's money, whether it's expertise, knowledge, participation, collaboration, every possible resource we want to be able to apply in a one-to-one correspondence. Arriving resource, solution. New arriving resource, new potential for new solution. We want this to be the most efficient flow of human capacity, high voltage human capacity, global application of human energy that's ever existed for positive purpose. The only time this has ever happened in the past was during times of war, when we collectively got together for violent reasons to destroy or conquer or to subjugate or to punish some other tribal group. That model cannot work for our world in the future. That model cannot solve climate change. Loving, kind, caring, conscious, intentional collaboration, working in unison, working in love for positive superordinate goals can solve climate change. We believe that fundamentally. We must involve heart, mind, emotions, and soul comprehensively in embodied understanding, not merely a process of intellectually understanding things in a dispassionate, emotionally disassociated way. We want people's passion in this process. We want to engage the whole human being every step of the way. That's our intention. So graduates of these workshops would be able to solve for and build the transformational solutions and strategies of the future. So we'll be passing on everything that we learn will be passed along for free to the world that is in need. And we're hoping that this is a worthy vision. It is our hope and prayer that be so. There are many philosophies and thinkers that are informing the WSS. We are non-denominational. We are apolitical. We are at our core spiritual because we recognize the soul is as much a process as the mind, part of the process as the mind, the emotions, and the body. So we're holistic in our approach. And if you interact with us and talk with the orientation team, we'll get you lots of information. The social movement engine has 3 separate levels. Level 1 is engaging all individuals, as any social media platform has the capacity to do. Simultaneously, it has an administrative and facilitation and education layer that allows for facilitated collaborative action and mobilization of large numbers of groups of people in aligned collaborative effort. It's that administrative and facilitative system is designed to magnify the power of groups efficiently and effectively. Any group, any nation, any organization, for-profit or nonprofit, all are invited to the party. We want to engage all diversity equally and to unify humanity in this process. It's not a black and white thing. It's not a either or thing. It's not a yes or no thing. It's a transformational process. It's a evolution of consciousness process that we must grow together in. And there must be a venue for that collective evolutionary growth and attainment of consciousness that honors every human being. And thank you. We agree. Pope Francis has been making statements along these lines and is trying to unify humanity in collective efforting for the common good. And in our view, level 2 of the social movement engine is designed to allow large-scale collaborative effort between existing large entities, whether it's universities or government institutions or think tanks or philanthropists or change agents or subject matter experts, or any for-profit or nonprofit organization can be participative in it in order to generate synthesized solutions, and will be supported by an AI engine, and they'll have access to every design tool, modeling tool, educational data set that's necessary to arrive succinctly at necessary capacity to solve global problems together in ways that are honoring of every nation. The 3rd level of the social movement engine is designed to deliver those solutions, to implement those solutions, to monitor the process of their implementation, to facilitate it, to improve those methods of implementation, and to learn from every implementation of every solution and every strategy anywhere in the world, and to bring that learning back into this 3-level process so that this system of systems can evolve faster and faster and faster. This is a learning engine. This is an engine to help us learn how to transform together. We hope that we're making sense. I know these are big statements, big concepts. You're being very patient and tolerant. We appreciate it so much. So how can you get involved if you choose to, if this is of interest to you? If you're interested in donating time or energy, please contact us at wssnow.org. We've got a collaboration form on our website that you can fill out. We have a newsletter. You can join a team. You can create your own team. And virtually any team will be a good team to create if it's something that you are personally engaged with, passionate about, feel strongly about, feel is necessary and maps in any way to this mission and vision of resolving climate change and generating a sustainable life process for humanity collectively in the future. You can go to our YouTube channel and obtain endless recorded information there. We've had some wonderful media folks that have put together the videos. We hope that they are of adequate informative nature, essence, and quality. And we're open to any suggestions for any topics in addition to the ones that are already there. Yes, the most important slide of all. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for participating. Thank you for talking with us. Thank you for tolerating us. Thank you for being the kind, caring, loving souls that you are. Thank you for your generosity of spirit and intention and your open minds and open hearts. They are what will make the future possible.